Archangel Michael says, they've been manipulating your mind through someone you love. This isn't a coincidence. Since the last full moon, something in the atmosphere shifted. Not a whisper, not a breeze, but a rupture in the unseen. The kind of rupture only the spiritually awake can feel. You felt it, haven't you? A sudden strangeness in a familiar connection. A confusion that can't be explained by logic. The tightening of your spirit in the presence of someone you once trusted without hesitation. And I, Archangel Michael, come bearing a word not for all, but for the chosen, the consecrated, the awakened. This is not a coincidence. This is divine exposure. The heavens have sounded the alarm, and this moment, this very message, is your confirmation. They've been manipulating your perception, twisting your mind not through force, but through familiarity. Through someone you've loved. Through someone who once felt like safety, now feeling like fog. The orchestrators of confusion do not always arrive with claws. Sometimes, they arrive with a voice you recognize. And since the last full moon, they've intensified. Why? Because something inside you began to shift. You've been drawing closer to your destiny. You've been praying more, discerning more, awakening more. And now, the opposition is moving strategically. This word is not for the casual or the curious. This is a dispatch from the divine. And the Father of Lights has sent me, Michael, to say, remain silent for now. Do not confront them. Do not explain your knowing. Your clarity will return in 2 days. You must not disturb the divine exposure unfolding before you. Silence is your shield. Discernment is your sword. You are being given insight because heaven trusts you to handle it without sabotage. They chose someone close to you because your enemy knew. A stranger could never confuse your spirit the way intimacy does. But I declare, you will not be broken by this. You were chosen to perceive, to withstand, and to rise. You are not here by accident, and this word is not reaching you by chance. This is your moment of awakening. A divine message carved in urgency and sealed in truth. Type I receive in the comments if you know this message is for you. Blessing code 1177 is now in divine circulation around your life. Hear this word as a trumpet to your soul. Archangel Michael speaks with urgency, not fear. With clarity, not confusion. With divine authority, not opinion. What you are experiencing is not ordinary. What you are enduring is not imagined. This interference that has clung to your heart, this fog that's wrapped around your decisions, it has a source, and it is being exposed. Since the last full moon, something ancient awakened. The realm of light and shadow, always at war, became particularly loud in your atmosphere. You felt it, not in your ears, but in your spirit. It whispered in the change of tone from someone you love. It echoed in their silence, in their distance, in their eyes when they avoided yours. Something moved, something stirred, and now, here I am, declaring, your clarity will return in 2 days. Yes, 2 days. For in the next 48 hours, the fog will lift, the veil will part, the manipulation will be revealed not by confrontation, but by revelation. This is the moment you were chosen to recognize the trap, not to fall into it. You were chosen to survive it, not be scarred by it. You are not paranoid. You are prophetic. You are not emotional. You are discerning. The ache in your chest, the knot in your gut, that was heaven's early warning system. And now the sirens are sounding. You must listen. They've manipulated your mind through someone you love. Someone whose voice once soothed your storms has now become the source of confusion. But listen, they are not the architect. They are the access point. They are not your enemy. They were manipulated, too. This interference isn't new, but this exposure is. And it is heaven's doing. You felt this kind of manipulation before, haven't you? You've seen the pattern. The cycle of drawing close to breakthrough, only to feel emotionally sabotaged by a sudden shift in someone close to you. That's not coincidence. It's a coordinated spiritual attack disguised as relational confusion. You are not weak. You are being refined. Archangel Michael says to you, hold your ground. Stand still. Heaven is about to reveal who was speaking through them. And when it comes, do not react. Do not explain yourself. Do not plead for understanding. This isn't about convincing anyone. This is about alignment. Let the divine do what only the divine can do. You were chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. Willing to endure the discomfort of awakening. Willing to carry the weight of spiritual discernment. Willing to follow divine instruction even when your heart wants to rush into confrontation. Your restraint is not weakness, it is wisdom. You are being called to silence not because your voice is irrelevant, but because your silence is more powerful in this hour. Do not disturb what heaven is exposing. Trust that what is hidden will be seen. And when it is, it will not be by your effort, but by divine revelation. You are not broken. You are being built. You are not confused. You are being taught. And every spiritual muscle in you is being tested, strengthened, and sanctified. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to lean in, to discern, to pray with precision, to observe with holy stillness. Michael says, the next 2 days are sacred. Protect your atmosphere. Guard your emotions. Do not let temporary confusion birth permanent damage. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 999 is now surrounding you. Now let your heart bear witness to what your spirit has been trying to tell you. You've noticed it, the silence, the strange emotional distance, the subtle shifts that left you wondering if you were the problem. Someone close to you, someone you've loved, has changed. Not in obvious ways, but in spiritual temperature. One moment, they were warm, then cold, present, then absent, trusting, then suspicious, and you blamed yourself. But hear this, you are not imagining it. This is real. This is deeper than human confusion. This is spiritual distortion. They are not acting alone. That's the mystery. This shift in their behavior is not born from random emotion. It is the result of influence, subtle, strategic influence. The kind that doesn't scream, but whispers lies into the ear of the one you love. Lies that cast you as the villain. Lies that twist your words, your silence, your intentions. You see, manipulation in the spirit realm does not always come as direct attack. Sometimes it comes as distortion, as seeded doubt, as false guilt, as emotionally baited confusion. That's what you've been feeling. That's why conversations feel off. That's why presence feels like absence. They've been used, not possessed, not evil, but influenced. They are not the enemy. They are the door, the access point, and it is through that door the enemy tried to destabilize you. But Archangel Michael says, confusion is not a curse. It is a signal. It is your spirit detecting interference. And instead of blaming yourself, I call you to discern. You are not broken. You are being awakened. You are not overreacting. You are under spiritual assault, and yet still standing. And now I say to you, lift your head. Look deeper. Don't just ask why they've changed, ask what changed around them. Who started whispering to them? What energy began hovering over your bond? Where did the miscommunication originate? Follow the trail, not in accusation, but in discernment. Because heaven is exposing a chain reaction, and you're about to see how it was never about them. It was always about stopping you. And here's the truth. The one they used was chosen because they had emotional access. Your enemy doesn't waste time trying to trigger you through strangers. They aim for the heart, for the ones you love, because love opens doors logic cannot. But I declare over you now, that door is closing. This is your moment of clarity. This is your moment of reset. This is not the end of the relationship, but it is the end of the manipulation. You are stepping into sacred detachment, not from people but from patterns. The patterns of over-giving, over-explaining, over-apologizing. Those days are over. You now walk in discernment. You now walk in divine awareness. You now see the manipulation, and you will not dance to its rhythm any longer. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1516 is now activated. Listen closely. For this battle that surrounds you is not about love. It only wears the mask of love. This conflict, this emotional chaos, this spiritual unrest that has crept through the cracks of your most trusted connection, it is not merely about misunderstandings or miscommunications. It is about something far greater. It is about purpose. It is about calling. It is about the war between light and darkness that erupts any time a chosen one begins to rise into their divine assignment. You are not just experiencing tension. You are standing in the crossfire of a spiritual war. And though it feels personal, though it feels like betrayal, Archangel Michael declares to you now, this is not personal. It is prophetic. This is a battle of light and darkness disguised as love. It has taken the face of intimacy, but its origin lies in spiritual jealousy. The moment you began walking in divine clarity, the moment you began breaking old cycles, shedding emotional chains, returning to the altar in prayer and in posture, the forces that had long whispered in secret began to panic. You were no longer silent. You were no longer asleep. And your awakening threatened every system that depended on your confusion. So they targeted you. Not head-on. Not with loud warfare. No. They came through someone who knew your soft spots, someone who carried your heart. They used their voice to echo doubts, their silence to breed insecurity, their change in behavior to reopen old wounds. And heaven saw it all. Michael says, the closer you get to your purpose, the stronger the pull against you becomes. The tug of war between what with and what will be growth intense at the doorway of destiny. And that's exactly where you are, at the threshold. Your soul has outgrown old patterns, and the enemy is scrambling to reattach you to the very emotions that once paralyzed you. But hear me now, you are not being punished. You are being refined. What feels like abandonment is divine preservation. What feels like emotional withdrawal is actually spiritual redirection. This storm is not about their betrayal. It's about your breakthrough. This is not about them rejecting you. It's about heaven pulling you closer and protecting you from contamination. You are a vessel of light. a carrier of divine frequency. And when such light is about to erupt in full manifestation, darkness always tests the container. You are that container. You are the one carrying something too sacred to be diluted by distraction. That is why this conflict erupted. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are too worthy to be left unaware. And understand this, your calm is not weakness. Your calm is war. In the spirit realm, your refusal to engage, your restraint in not defending yourself, your silence in the face of manipulation, these are not losses. These are declarations of war in heaven's language. Every time you choose stillness, angels are deployed. Every time you hold your tongue, heaven sharpens your sword. Every time you respond in prayer instead of pain, the chains around your destiny crack. Michael declares, you're not losing your mind, you're stepping into higher ground. You are not a victim of emotional warfare, you are a victor being elevated through it. You are not just being tested, you are being transformed. This is your framing. You are a vessel of breakthrough. You are the reason the battle has intensified. Because what you carry has the power to shift atmospheres, to heal hearts, to break generational patterns. And darkness always resists what it cannot control. So hold fast. Stand firm. See the conflict not as a curse but as a calling. Heaven fights for you because heaven sees you as essential. You are not abandoned. You are assigned. Type I am a vessel of light in the comments if this word confirms your season. Blessing code 3311 now surrounds your assignment. Now lean in, for the clock has started ticking. A meeting is forming in the shadows. Not a physical one you will see, but a spiritual one that is already stirring. Within the next 48 hours, a new emotional trap is being devised. Archangel Michael issues this as a divine warning. They are gathering again. Whether in spirit or in speech, a strategy is being drawn up to provoke your emotions, to lure your reaction, to snare your soul into another loop of guilt, defensiveness, and distraction. But this time, you will not take the bait. Something is coming. A voice you know. A pattern you've seen. A tone that once made you spiral. It will reappear. It will disguise itself in conversation, in accusation, in passive withdrawal. But this time, you are not who you used to be. You are awake. You are armed. And you are under divine command. Stay silent. Michael says your silence is a weapon. Do not explain. Do not defend. Do not retaliate. Just discern. Watch with the eyes of the Spirit. Listen with the ears of wisdom. Deal with the heart of heaven. Your reaction will either disarm or empower the trap. Choose discipline. Choose heaven's path. This provocation will not be random. It hath been orchestrated. But heaven already knows. And your obedience in silence will trigger a wave of divine movement on your behalf. They expect you to argue. They expect you to cry. They expect you to beg for clarity. But this time, your stillness will confuse every demonic agenda. Your refusal to engage will silence voices that sought to manipulate. And your quiet trust will become your loudest victory. There is a strategy in the spirit realm designed to pull you back into confusion. But heaven is issuing you the blueprint in advance. You will not be surprised. You will not be caught off guard. You will see it coming, and you will stand still. Even now, I see heaven encamping around you. Angels have been assigned to your decision. This is not just about emotional discipline. This is about spiritual alignment. When you choose restraint, heaven rushes in. When you choose silence, heaven speaks louder. You are not alone in this. You are surrounded by a holy defense, and your obedience is unlocking divine reversal. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super chat with a contribution of $10. Your support strengthens our mission and fuels future messages of power and clarity. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type "I choose stillness" in the comments if this word is for you. Blessing code 4422 now protects your next 48 hours. Be still now. I, Archangel Michael, speak not as a distant voice but as a divine warrior appointed to guard your path, to shield your spirit, to guide your silence. This is not the time for noise. This is not the time for proving or persuading. This is the time to abide in spiritual posture, to dwell in the fortress of the Most High. Your stillness now roars louder than any response. Your silence, lined with the divine, is thunder in the spirit realm. They will wait for you to speak. They will bait you into reaction. They will move subtly to reopen the door to your energy. But hear this: what they cannot provoke, they cannot access. What they cannot control, they cannot manipulate. And what they cannot comprehend, they will retreat from. Michael says, stay hidden in prayer. Not every movement deserves your attention. Not every question deserves your reply. Not every emotional jab requires your defense. In this hour, you are to guard your sacred atmosphere, protected like a temple, because what is being formed in your spirit is holy. The healing, the revelation, the alignment, it's fragile yet fierce. And if you allow unnecessary interaction to disrupt it, you will delay divine manifestation. Say this aloud even now: I am guarded. I am grounded. I am guided. This is your affirmation. This is your spiritual armor. These words are not weak. They are walls. They are shields forged in fire. When you speak them, you seal yourself off from intrusion. You remind the unseen that you are no longer reactive. You are consecrated. Do not let confusion speak louder than clarity. Focus on observation, not participation. Watch patterns. Feel atmospheres. Sense energy shifts. But do not jump to interpret or solve. You are not here to fix what God is exposing. You are here to witness the unveiling. Even now, your discernment is increasing. Even now, your spirit is being recalibrated. The fog is lifting, slowly, steadily. Do not rush it. Do not force clarity. Let it rise like the sun, a little more with each hour. The Holy Spirit is guiding you, and archangelic hosts are surrounding your stillness. This stillness is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is strategy. It is warfare. Not everything needs your voice, only your alignment. Say that again. Not everything needs your voice, only your alignment. Because your alignment with heaven speaks louder than any argument. It communicates to the spirit world that you are not distracted. You are not available for drama. You are not a participant in chaos. You are consecrated, and your atmosphere is guarded. You are walking through a sacred transition, a passageway where the old you no longer fits, and the new you is being formed in stillness, in silence, in solitude. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them project. You do not owe them access. You owe yourself peace. Every time you choose silence, you permit heaven to work without interference. Every time you turn away from the need to respond, you let the divine protect what your emotions might endanger. And I say again, they cannot access what you do not open. So do not open the door. Michael speaks this final word in this section. You are being watched over. Do not be afraid. Do not be shaken. Your silence is your sanctuary. Your stillness is your strategy. And your spirit is being shielded from every unseen assault. Type I am guarded in the comments if this word surrounds your spirit. Blessing code 8080 now encircles your emotional atmosphere. Now feel this shift, not in your environment, but in your inner being. Feel the rising. Feel the strength. Feel the power that was once dormant now thundering through your bones. This is your moment of emergence. This is where the story flips, where confusion gives way to clarity, where manipulation meets resistance, where fear dissolves into purpose. They underestimated your awakening, but heaven always knew who you were becoming. They believed you'd be irritated, that your heart could be played like a puppet, your trust stretched like thread, your spirit molded by their moods. But what they failed to understand, what they never expected, was that this fire would not consume you. It would cleanse you. It would refine you. It would elevate you. Archangel Michael says, you are rising, not as a victim of mind games, not as the wounded from a relational war, but as a warrior who knows exactly who they are, and more importantly, whose they are. You are no longer controlled by guilt, no longer imprisoned by fear, no longer paralyzed by confusion. You've seen the game. You've traced the pattern. You decoded the manipulation. And now, you stand as one who cannot be moved. This is the shift. Composite to prophet. From manipulated to magnificent. From silence to sovereign. You are not a reaction. You are a revelation. You are not a victim. You are a vessel. And your very presence is unsettling to the ones who sought to use your emotions against you. They thought you'd crumble. They thought you'd flee. They thought you'd crawl for closure. But you are no longer seeking permission to heal. You are healed. You are healing. And healing looks like detachment. It looks like boundaries. It looks like joy that doesn't need validation. It looks like discernment that does not waver. Michael declares, the fire they meant to burn you has purified you. And now, your silence shakes their plans. Your presence exposes their motives. Your discernment dismantles their strategy. You are walking in power, not arrogance, not retaliation, but power rooted in clarity. And clarity is a weapon they cannot disarm. This is your new walk, with your head high, your spirit grounded, and your discernment sharp. You do not explain anymore. You observe. You do not chase. You attract. You do not defend. You declare. And your declaration is this: I am chosen. I am called. I am no longer controlled. Let them watch. Let them question. Let them attempt to re-engage you through old patterns. You will not flinch. You will not bend. You are the shift. You are the standard. You are the storm they did not anticipate. Michael says, walk with power. Walk with poise. Walk with prophetic awareness. Every step you take now shakes the unseen. Every moment you hold your peace sends shockwaves into the realm of darkness. You are no longer their puppet. You are a prophet in motion. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super sticker of $5. Your support fuels the mission and spreads light in places that need awakening. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. I walk in power in the comments if you're claiming this shift. Blessing code 6611 now leads your next steps. The veil has lifted. The divine curtain has parted. And now, what once seemed like sabotage is revealed for what it truly was, a setup for elevation. This is your prophetic moment, and I, Archangel Michael, bring this message as a seal to your storm. What you thought was meant to break you was actually permitted to wake you. The manipulation you endured, the confusion that clung to your spirit, the emotional misfires, they were not random attacks. They were divine tools, and they exposed the next level of your calling. This trial was your unlock. What you've walked through, this deep emotional warfare, this battle of the mind disguised in the voice of someone you love, it was never about just surviving. It was about access. It was about the doorway to your divine assignment. You see, heaven had to show you what you were tolerating. Heaven had to illuminate the cracks in your boundaries, the holes in your perception, the softness in your discernment. Not to shame you, but to strengthen you. Because your next level could not afford the same patterns. This was a prophetic interruption. Michael says, they were sent to keep you small. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. To clip your voice. To shrink your vision. To make you second-guess your anointing. Every moment of confusion was designed to blur your direction. Every manipulation was seeded to fracture your focus. But to hear this clearly, it didn't work. You're still here. And not only are you still here, you are seeing clearly now. The fog they created revealed the power of your inner compass. The pressure they applied brought out the oil. The rejection they delivered uncovered your true allies. And all along, heaven was orchestrating a higher narrative. Because what was meant to derail you has now redirected you. You are stepping into prophetic elevation. Not because you fought harder than others, but because you surrendered. You surrendered to the process. You surrendered to the silence. You surrendered your pride, your need to explain, your desire to defend. And in that surrender, you found divine strength. Michael declares, heaven is preparing promotion. And this manipulation was your test. Not a test of perfection, but of positioning. Not a test of knowledge, but of spiritual posture. You passed, not because you never felt pain, but because you did not bow to it. You wept, yes. You doubted, yes. But you held on. And that holding has counted as righteousness. What looked like sabotage has now become a sign that the next dimension of your purpose is unlocked, a sign that you are trusted with more, a sign that you are not who you used to be. This is your prophetic revelation. Every person who was used, every situation that spiraled, every emotion that spun out, it all had a purpose. Heaven used it all. Nothing was wasted. The warfare birthed wisdom. The heartbreak refined discernment. The confusion triggered awakening. You are no longer blind to manipulation. You are no longer seduced by false guilt. You are no longer tied to patterns that bury your power. You are free. And in this freedom, your voice is returning. Your clarity is sharpening. Your atmosphere is shifting. And your next level is unfolding. Type I see clearly in the comments if you felt this divine revelation hit your spirit. Blessing code 4444 now unlocks your next level. Now is the time to rise. Not in concept, but in action. Not in emotion, but in motion. Archangel Michael speaks with divine authority and says, your destiny awaits your movement. You've heard the warning. You've survived the warfare. You've discerned the manipulation. And now, your path must be reclaimed. with full force, with holy boldness, with unapologetic obedience. Declare this even now. I reclaim my mind. I reclaim my heart. I reclaim my path. These words are more than affirmations. They are spiritual activations. With every syllable, you cancel confusion. With every breath, you break off delay. With every declaration, you untie the knots of doubt and step forward into what was always yours. You've been silent. You've been still. And now, you must speak. You must act. You must create again. Start writing. Start fasting. Start creating. Not because you have to prove anything, but because the Spirit flows through motion. The Spirit rides on action. The clarity you've been craving will meet you in movement. It will meet you in the pages of your journal, in the quiet of your fast, in the stroke of your creativity, and a plan you put on povertulum. You are not waiting on heaven anymore. Heaven is waiting on you. Michael says, your gifts are returning. The very things they tried to silence, your voice, your art, your insight, are roaring back to life. Every dormant gift is being reawakened. Every delayed assignment is being dusted off. Every divine idea that was buried under guilt is rising again. This is your moment of boldness. Not reckless boldness, but divine confidence. Heaven has cleared the path. You do not need to apologize for choosing peace. You do not need to explain your healing. You do not need to seek approval for your calling. What? Move. Build. Write. Launch. Speak. Do it now. Because your yes will resound in heaven as a sound of war against every lie spoken over your destiny. You are chosen. You are marked. You are positioned. And now that the manipulation has been revealed, it cannot block you. Now that the fog has lifted, it cannot confuse you. Now that you've reclaimed your spirit, you can't be stopped. Michael says, go forth. Go forth in boldness. Go forth in purity. Go forth in purpose. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time for the next dimension of your divine design. This is destiny activation. This is the ignition of your future. This is the moment heaven applauds your endurance and blesses your movement. Type I activate my destiny in the comments if this is your moment of launch. Was in code 7777 now power your every next step. While you have been trying to make sense of the silence in your life, heaven has been thunderously active in the unseen. The silence you've endured was not abandonment. It was exchange. A divine transaction has been unfolding without the noise of the natural. And now, Archangel Michael reveals what has truly been taking place. While you sleep, angels have been warring. Warring for your clarity. Warring for your peace. Warring for your purpose. What you could not see, heaven was handling. Every restless night you endured, every tear that rolled down your cheek in secret, every moment you questioned your reality and your worth. These were not wasted. They were invitations. Invitations for divine intervention. And heaven responded. The Father saw every moment your soul groaned without words. The Spirit interpreted those groanings and turned them into declarations before the throne. You thought you were breaking, but you were birthing. You see, in the spirit realm, your tears are not signs of weakness. They are agreements. They are spiritual contracts. And every drop that fell in confusion was recorded in the scrolls of heaven. Not a single tear went unnoticed. Not a single cry was ignored. They became evidence, evidence presented before the courts of heaven. And now, the verdict has been rendered in your favor. Michael says, The angels have not only been observing, they've been intervening. They have intercepted attacks. They have routed sabotage. They have silenced accusers. Even now, what confusion tried to steal from your spirit is being restored. Your mind is clearing. Your heart is stabilizing. Your soul is anchoring. You've wondered why you've been feeling restless, why you wake up in the middle of the night, why sleep comes but rest does not follow. It's because your spirit has been engaged in warfare. Not warfare of panic, but warfare of protection. While your body sleeps, your spirit remains sensitive. It has heard the roar of angels. It has felt the fire of cleansing. It has stood in the presence of the divine exchange. You've been in a spiritual shift, and that's why the people around you don't understand you anymore. That's why old conversations now feel empty. That's why the person they used to manipulate you doesn't seem as powerful anymore. Something in the unseen has changed. You have changed. This silent exchange is not something you earned. It's something you were chosen for. Heaven chose to act on your behalf, not because of perfection, but because of your posture. You didn't retaliate. You didn't curse your process. You didn't shut heaven out. And that posture became your greatest weapon. Michael says, angels now surround your next steps. And though your enemy is still watching, they cannot touch what hath been sealed in the Spirit. The transaction is complete. The covering is secure. The path is cleared. Now, you must walk in the assurance of what has already shifted. Your restlessness is about to turn into revelation. Your confusion is about to turn into clarity. Your fatigue is about to break, because you are stepping into a peace that surpasses understanding. A peace not rooted in circumstance, but in the assurance of heaven's defense. If you've been feeling a strange peace despite the chaos, that is the confirmation. The warfare is not over, but the outcome is already written. And heaven has ruled in your favor. Type I receive heaven's verdict in the comments if this resonates with your season. Blessing code 2323 is now activating divine rest. Now hear the decree of heaven, the time of divine reversal has come. Archangel Michael, speaking under the authority of the Most High, declares this word over your life. Everything meant to manipulate your mind, your emotions, and your perception is now reversing. The traps, the gaslighting, the confusion, it will not stand. The manipulation that crept through familiar voices is collapsing under the weight of divine justice. What they used to destabilize you is now exposing them. What they did in the dark is now echoing in the light. Their whispers are becoming their downfall. Their deception is turning into their unveiling. You don't need to chase revenge. Justice is already on the move. Michael says, the one they used will either confess or disappear. There will be no middle ground. The veil is lifting, and you will no longer be the one carrying the emotional burden of their decisions. Their silence will either shatter, or heaven will silence them completely. Either way, you will not be left in confusion. You've been walking through the shadows of gaslighting, where your intuition was dismissed, where your truth was twisted, where your spirit cried out while your mouth stayed shut. But now, heaven speaks for you. Heaven reveals what they tried to bury. Heaven brings the justice you dared not ask for. Understand this: God balances the scales, always. And when He does, it is not for your pride. It is for your peace. It is for the restoration of your sanity, your dignity, your clarity. No more confusion. No more dormant. No more second-guessing. What was hidden is about to be announced. What was covered in spiritual manipulation is about to be uncovered by divine righteousness. This isn't just about a personal betrayal. It's about a spiritual plot. And now, that plot is being unraveled by heavenly hands. You won't need to defend your discernment anymore. You won't need to prove what you felt. The evidence will speak. And when it does, let peace be your response. Michael says, your peace is a judgment. Your stillness is a sword. Your silence is a sentence passed down by heaven. You are walking in such spiritual alignment that your very presence becomes prophetic retaliation. You don't need revenge. You are the reversal. The very atmosphere around you is shifting. People who once sided against you will feel compelled to question their perception. The one who once manipulated your trust will be forced to reckon with the truth of your spirit. And those who stood by silently, heaven is now aggressing them too. Justice is not always loud. Sometimes it moves like a whisper, but it hits like a wave. And that wave is now building. You will feel it. You will see it. But you won't have to move a muscle. Your alignment is your authority. Your peace is your platform. Your obedience is your offering. And heaven has accepted it. Michael speaks this word clearly. The scales are not only balancing, they are tipping in your favor. The ones who toyed with your emotions will be confronted by truth they cannot escape. And you will walk away whole, healed, free. Type justice is mine in the comments if this word hit your spirit. Blessing code 8844 now establishes divine reversal around you. You are not crazy, you are called. This was never about delusion. It was always about discernment. What they tried to convince you was imagination was, in truth, a holy revelation. Heaven trusted you with perception. Heaven entrusted you with spiritual intelligence. And now, you stand not as the broken but as the bold. Not as the manipulated, but as the master of your atmosphere. Archangel Michael stands at your side, flaming sword in hand, and he declares this over your life. You are sealed. You are seen. You are spiritually protected. Every tear hath been recorded. Every whisper of confusion hath been reversed. Every attempt to cloud your clarity has been met by divine light. Let this final prayer rise from your soul. Father, I receive the fullness of your protection. I walk forward without shame, without fear, without confusion. I let go of false attachments, and I reclaim my clarity, my joy, and my divine rhythm. Seal me in your truth. Guard me in your grace. Let every voice that sought to distract me be silenced, and let your voice become the loudest within me. I declare that I am called, I am chosen, and I am aligned. In the name of the Most High, Amen. This was not a coincidence. This was a divine appointment. Your steps were ordered. Your mind has been renewed. Your silence was not in vain. It was sacred. It was strategy. It was strength. Now walk. Walk like the anointed. Walk like the protected. Walk like one whose name is written on scrolls of purpose and whose presence shifts atmospheres. Michael leaves you with this final charge. Rise. Rise with dignity. Rise with discernment. Rise with the understanding that you are a walking testimony of what divine timing, spiritual endurance, and heavenly alignment can do. The manipulation failed. The plan was reversed. The awakening has come. Type I am sealed in the comments to confirm your closure and clarity. Blessing code 0000 now rests over you in full divine covering.